What's coming up. Welcome back to the Right Stuff Extra. Now, it is the final part of the show. It's over to you and your questions. As usual, we have Joe here, who is going to be taking calls on your pet problems. The phones have been ringing off the hook. We're going to get to those very, very soon, Joe. But I just want to talk to you about a campaign you're involved in, which is in the southern parts of Africa. And it's a campaign which is helping to save animals' lives.
It is. It's a charity called the LSPCA, which is, I suppose, the equivalent of the RSPCA, but in a country called Malawi. And it's the only animal charity there. I mean, it's a tiny African country, very poor, and there are no vets, there's no animal welfare there at all. And this charity called the LSPCA was set up in 2008 and then supported by the RSPCA in this country. And I went out there and took on the role as patron, and it's just absolutely amazing, you know, what they do with so little and how much difference they can make. I mean, in this country, you know, we tend to be dealing with pampered pooches and, you know, all this kind of stuff. But out there, you know, they're making a real difference, vaccinating livestock against diseases like Newcastle disease and dogs against rabies, which doesn't just impact on the welfare of the animals, but also on the livelihoods of the people there. So it's really making a difference to their life as well.
So most of the animals are kept for livelihood, but they don't really have pets.
I mean, even the dogs are there as guard dogs and so on. And obviously the livestock, I mean, if they lose a flock of chickens to Newcastle disease, that can wipe out, you know, a community. It can make a massive impact. So it does make such a big difference. But the conditions, I mean, you'll see from some of this footage we've got, you know, I was there spaying dogs, and normally in this country I do that in an air-conditioned, sterile theatre, and out there I was doing it in a dusty field with a sort of tent put over the top of it, and dogs would actually turn up in wheelbarrows, and then they'd be taken out, you know, away.
Because the animals are so important to livelihood, I know a friend of mine was travelling in the centre of China, and he said, you know, it was easier to find somebody to look after the chickens than it was to get a doctor, because they were reliant so heavily on their animals for their livelihood. I
mean, that may be true, but there are no private vets, or really very few in Malawi, so and especially if you're poor, if you've got an ill animal or got a problem, there's no other private means of getting animal care. So that's why the LSPCA is so important. And they've got this project this year to get away from doing everything in tents and you know, just on the ground. They're trying to build a clinic out there, and they're sending out what they call a clinic in a box, which is a shipping container full of veterinary equipment, X-ray machines and so on.
So your donations can literally go on physical products.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, we're trying to raise money for it. There's links on the Right Stuff Extra website to the LSPCA website. It'd be great if people could donate, because it's a wonderful cause. And I do sometimes feel like, you know, I achieve more when I go out there for a week. I probably achieve more for animal welfare than I do in a month in the surgery in the UK.
Well, in the next 8 minutes, you will achieve a lot as well, I'm sure, because Kirsty has plenty of calls for